4 days in a remote forest with no cell service where we disconnect from everything and hike, camp, fish, and drink by the fire. Just before Labor Day weekend, we headed up north to our favorite state park. The drive was good, and we arrived early afternoon. We set up camp, built a fire, and then went on a hike to explore. On our way back to the campground, we stopped for a swim in a lake. After getting back to the campground late, we quickly made dinner, sat around the fire, drank, and told stories until it got too cold to sit outside. We went to bed earlier than usual since we had an early hike planned for the next morning. The first day of the hike was long and strenuous, with only a few small breaks. By the time we got back to the campground at 4:30, we were exhausted and hungry. Dinner was quiet that night, and we hit the sack early again. The next day was filled with fishing, swimming, and reading under the trees. In the evening, we built a huge fire, roasted marshmallows and hot dogs, and stayed up later than the previous night. My girlfriend and I retired to our tent early while the other couple stayed by the fire. I haven't mentioned yet that we have a 6-person tent with 2 double-wide sleeping pads inside. The 3 of us would sleep on the same pad while the 2 friends sleep on the other. As I drifted off to sleep, I heard what sounded like heavy breathing from directly outside the tent. I told my girlfriend. She laughed and rolled over. I tried to focus on the fire and the conversation, but every so often I would hear what sounded like snoring or heavy breathing. Since it was warm, we had the tent open on both sides. I remember thinking maybe it's a mouse or something crawling through the open mesh on the tent. Eventually, we all started to settle down. Then we began to hear what sounded like someone breathing heavily right outside the tent. At first, we thought it was someone walking by in the forest, or maybe an animal. But after a few minutes, it became clear that whoever or whatever it was standing right outside our tent. I remember sitting there thinking, I hope it goes away soon. This is going to get awkward explaining to the girls in the morning that someone was stalking us while we slept. Then I began to giggle uncontrollably. My girlfriend asked what was wrong, and I told her what I was thinking. She began laughing too, and we agreed we'd ask the others in the morning if they had heard it. Then it seemed like forever, but was probably about 15 minutes. The breathing sounds outside the tent stopped. Not wanting to scare my girlfriend, I decided not to get out of the hammock to investigate the sounds. I figured it was probably a raccoon or something, and I didn't want to startle whatever was out there.